Today, we're going to be talking about baking soda and baking powder. What's the difference? I got some of each. Which one do you use? When do you use it? How do you use it? So forth and so on. And what's the difference? Folks, this little story also includes this stuff right here. It's called cream of tartar. Okay, now cream of tartar, that's tartaric acid. Okay, baking soda, this stuff right here, this is simple sodium bicarbonate. It says right here on the label, or some people call it bicarbonate of sodium. All right, and then there's baking powder. So what's the difference and what do they do? What's the difference in this and this? What's the difference? Folks, this product has more than just baking soda in it. It has baking soda in it, but it's got other stuff. So now let's kind of go back to the very base ingredient. We're starting with baking soda. Baking soda is our active ingredient, okay? On both baking powder and baking soda is the active ingredient. And the whole idea here is we're looking to get a release of bubbles, essentially. You're looking for a release of gas. It releases carbon dioxide when you mix an acid with this stuff, okay? This stuff releases. The acid is what we call a catalyst. It is the item that reacts or causes the reaction in the sodium bicarbonate. The idea, it's often used in baking, also in candy making. So let me give you an idea here. Candy making has enough acid sometimes that it will react with baking soda. And how does that happen? The reaction happens like this. It is acidic enough in that it's all sugar. Now, sugar by itself normally isn't enough acid to cause a reaction with baking soda. For instance, if you make a cake, all of the other ingredients kind of dilute the acidity of the sugar to the point where it's no longer effective. But in something like peanut brittle, where it's nothing but sugar, there is enough acid to get a reaction, and that's how we get that light, fluffy, crunchy, beautiful peanut brittle made. Okay, it's by this stuff being added to it when it's nice and hot. Okay, so in a cake, sometimes you don't have enough acid in a cake, and as a result, you don't get any real gas release from the baking soda. And all you have to rely on at that point is the eggs. So what do? Do you add more acid to the cake? You can do that. I could take cream of tartar, this stuff, and mix it with this to get what we call baking powder. A single acting baking powder is what that is. And that means it acts one time. The minute the cake is mixed, the cake batter, that's when it goes and starts acting. So you pour it into the mold or the cake pan or whatever, and it rises up, and then you put it in the oven and it rises a little more because those bubbles of carbon dioxide start expanding. Okay, so baking powder, really cool. Baking soda is the active ingredient in baking powder. Now, what's the difference in single and double acting baking powder? Baking powder has when you buy it these days, it's almost always double acting baking powder. Now, the idea there is it has two catalysts. Now, what's a catalyst? The catalyst is something that's reacting with the baking soda to release the carbon dioxide. Well, this has two different ingredients in it. One of them, which is an acid base that immediately reacts with the baking soda the minute you mix your batter, the same way it's supposed to happen in a single acting baking powder. So you pour it into the mold and it rises up. Now, when you put that in the oven, not only are those existing bubbles going to expand, but when it hits a certain temperature, it's going to start releasing carbon dioxide all over again. And that's because one of the active ingredients, or I should say one of the catalysts that reacts with the active ingredient, that catalyst becomes acidic at a certain temperature. And then it reacts. And that's how that happens. So, boom, you've got double acting baking powder that releases gas twice. Cream of tartar, what is that? Cream of tartar? I've never heard of a tartar and I don't know how to cream one. Okay, what it is, it's tartaric acid. It's a byproduct of winemaking. Yeah, you heard me, winemaking. Sometimes it gives us other byproducts. When they're making wine, sometimes on top of the batch collects tartaric acid. They skim that off. Also on the inside of the fermenters and the barrels that they age wines in, it'll build up tartaric acid on the insides of those. They collect that tartaric acid. They process it and clean it and then grind it into a powder and pack it into jars and sell it as cream of tartar. That's what cream of tartar is. And it is simply an acid base that we use in the kitchen to create carbon dioxide by mixing it with baking powder. Yay! By mixing it with baking soda. Now you can bump up baking powder by adding additional baking soda to it. So in other words, you go from a little bit of reactive to a whole lot more reactive, because that soda will react to the same catalyst that's already in the baking powder. So there's the difference in all of those and kind of how they're used. Folks, if your cake is real acidic, you only need baking soda. And if your cake has no acid in it, you're probably going to need plenty of baking powder. And in some cases, you're supposed to use both. Now that's the hard part about making your own recipes, is figuring out how much of each of those, and it's all based on how much acid is down into that cake. So good luck with your active ingredients. If you have any further questions about this or how to use them, drop it in the comments below there. Those questions really help me out because it helps me mold my channel to greater things. If you would also, please click the like button. Take a look at the links in the description box, because that's where you're going to find information on Texas Cooking Today, and also on my channel, my website, S.A.Trotter.com, which is S.A.Trotter Arts, which Texas Cooking Today is a project of S.A.Trotter Arts, and that's me, my company. It's all three of us, me, myself, and I. So, thank you for watching, and please have a good day. Bye-bye.